John, please kick us off. Baker going to Carolina. This is big news. It's about damn time he got shipped out.
It darn is. It damn is. When I got the notification by from Brandon on my phone, I was saying to myself, this is kind of just like the newest thing for Baker. He's going to his fifth year, a fifth head coach, a fifth offensive coordinator. You know who it reminds me of a lot?
Oh,
Alex Smith. When he came into the league in San Francisco, perennially he had a new offensive coordinator his first 4 or 5 years in the league. He missed a year in between with a shoulder surgery. And I said to myself, it wasn't until he got continuity or consistency with the same offense where he could build that confidence where Alex really started to take off into a Pro Bowl quarterback. And with Baker Mayfield, last episode I was pretty tough on him. I was saying he wasn't even a top 3 player on that Browns team, which I do stand by. I don't think he was. But that doesn't take away from the fact he's an above average quarterback. And for a guy in Carolina by the name of Matt Rule doing everything to save his job, his seat is not just burning, it's like scorching. Like it's like melting, like the seat itself. He had to do something quick. They've won 5 games the last 3 years. The year before 2018, they were at 7-9. They've been nothing but since the team was sold, mediocre to well below average. And the quarterback position has been nothing but a carousel. They've had 6, 7 different starters in the last 3 years. Now adding Baker Mayfield, who easily won the quarterback job. I don't think Sam Darnold's got 20% job, 20% shot of winning that thing. I think him just being in the offense for a second straight year is really his only opportunity of being out Baker. 20% may even be nice. Maybe like 10% for Sam. I think the talent's there, but the consistency ain't. Even with Baker coming off the shoulder thing, that's Baker's job for the taking. And for Matt Rule, it's maybe his only chance to keep that job next season in Carolina. What do you think, Brian?
So I am a happy man, but also I'm
disappointed.
No, there's kind of some dark clouds hanging too, because on one hand, I'm happy for Baker. Right, he's finally out of Cleveland, which was a complete mess. I think we can all be honest and look back at it in hindsight. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go again. Like he's got the offensive weapons in the receiving core and the running back. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, when healthy, is a top 5, top 3 running back in the league, arguably the best. But coach on the hot seat, not good. This is like when Baker got drafted and Hugh Jackson was on the hot seat from day one, right out the gate. This is not good. Like yes, John said Baker's going into his 5th year, but he's still a young quarterback, and this is like a whole new beginning. So a start over, a reset. And these quarterbacks, I really hate in the new era. And I guess basically my era, since that's what I've grown up in, is quarterbacks get so rushed nowadays. Like and in general, actually, athletes in general, they like all over the sports, they get rushed right out of the gate. Like when you're 19, 18 in the NBA, 20, 21, 22, 23, like when you get drafted, you're getting rushed right away. Like you got to be good right now. Like back in the day, I just remember old heads talking about all the time, like in the 90s, 80s, early 2000s, whatever. They would take their time. Like we don't see usually like what Andy Reid did with Mahomes, spend a 10th pick, I think, in the first round on Patrick Mahomes.
Trade up, right?
He traded up, saw the guy, said, this is my guy. But guess what? I don't think he's ready yet. I'm going to put Alex Smith in. He's going to learn under a veteran quarterback. And then look what he did in his basically first season. I think he won MVP through 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, I believe. You don't see that nowadays. You know what I mean? Like Aaron Rodgers, people forget Aaron Rodgers took how many years? 3, 4 years?
4?
Yeah, before he started a game. I mean, not started, but took over the reins for the Green Bay. So I just really hope that this doesn't happen again. Like it's not a hero. Like we go into the season, we go a couple weeks in or midway through the season, Matt Rule's gone, and we go, here we go again. I don't want to be in that position.
Even before I get to my Baker point, just to echo on what you said, San Francisco is kind of doing the same thing with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. They spent such a high pick on him, and now it seems like this year he'll be taking the reins. So maybe I'm not going to say he's going to be like Patrick Mahomes, but
maybe too. They might not. They might go with Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy G's still there on the roster.
Yeah, They're paying him all that money.
Yeah, but to Baker, man, I don't love or hate this move. Most of all, I'm more happy for Baker. I do feel like this is just it's just good for him to get out of Cleveland, maybe to feel finally wanted in a quarterback room. So I think it's a great move just to see him there. I find it very funny that he's now in the same QB room as Sam Darnold, who he was being there were questions on whether or not Sam Darnold was going to be that number one overall pick, and here they are together, getting ready to have their own little QB battle, which should be fun. I think it's Baker's for the taking in the first place. But what I do love for Baker is that he's not being traded to a team depleted of offensive talent. You have DJ Moore on the outside. As long as Robbie Anderson is there as well, you still have another big play threat there. And then you have CMC in the backfield if he could stay healthy. And John even mentioned pre-show how they still have running back depth. So
Terrace
this
Marshall from LSU.
exactly. So they have tons of room to grow for him on the offensive side. Defense just needs a little bit more consistency. Offensive line needs to protect him. I mean, I'm not saying Carolina is going to win a Super Bowl, but if the stars align, maybe they can actually be in competition for a wild card spot.
So it was actually 3 years for Rodgers he sat. He didn't start a game until he was 25 years old. Baker was going to his third year by that point. And I think for him, it was between this or Seattle. Last episode, we were talking about Miami, and I never thought that was in the cards. It didn't make any sense for him to come and be a de facto backup for Tua, just because he had already overcome a lot last year. Why would you then put all that pressure of Baker over his shoulder? Anyways, this is a terrible fit for him because you're going from Kevin Stefanski to Matt Rule, but also Bob McAdoo as the offensive coordinator. So another new offense, fifth OC. Beyond that, you're going from a top 5 O-line in Cleveland to one of the very worst in the NFL. So the protection is not going to be the same for him. And while there's all of those weapons, it's the constant process of turnover after it just overcame a torn labrum. Like, I can't imagine playing quarterback and constantly being hit, thrown around. You got outside linebackers like TJ Watt in your division talking trash to you. They're trying to punk you and all that. And meanwhile, you're trying to play through like a torn labrum. That cost Baker his job in Cleveland, but I think for him, he's got to recover, and he may not have the entire offseason to fully improve as a QB. And now he's being thrown into this whole new can of worms in a division that may be as tough as the AFC North when you look at Tampa Bay, New Orleans defense. And I think Atlanta, while they're not a playoff team, I think they can surprise people this year. I think with Arthur Smith, the job he did as last year went on, the Falcons can win 6 or 7 games. And I think this division doesn't have the AFC North, I think with the Steelers maybe being the fourth of the Ravens, the Browns, it's a better division. But the NFC South is tough. It's a really tough division.
It's all right. You gave more the good points on those teams. I mean, you've got Tampa Bay. They're the if so facto division champs. They're Super Bowl contenders. They got Tom Brady. They got that offense. They've got solid pieces on the defense. But as far as Atlanta, Matt Ryan's gone after that long tenure of over a decade playing there. Their quarterback, who's the quarterback that's going to start? Mariota. That okay.
I'm expecting big things in Kyle Pitts, second best tight end from the 2021 NFL draft.
They don't have Calvin Ridley because he's suspended for the year. So I mean, Atlanta, I'm not really high on. New Orleans, I like Jameis Winston. He's coming off a torn ACL. Sean Payton's gone. Michael Thomas is coming off an injury. I think Alvin Kamara might be suspended for 4 games. There's so I think Carolina can easily jump right to that number 2 spot in the division. I think they can easily be the seventh seed, maybe 6th seed as the ceiling. I definitely can see that.
I'm just not a fan of Carolina's chances, especially. I mean, sure, yeah, I guess they can contend possibly for that number 2 spot. I still think the Saints can find a way to, well, Jameis Winston can find a way to game manage his way to lead them to victory. But I think we can all agree this is Tampa's division for the taking, and everybody is just playing for second.
Yeah, but I just want to say, like, if you look at the NFC, right? So the NFC East, I mean, we'll get to our rankings down the line, right? when we go over all of them. But the NFC, I don't know if I only see one playoff team there. I mean the NFC East. Sorry if I didn't say the NFC East. I only see really one playoff team there. The NFC North, I think it's really Green Bay, and then I think there's everybody else still.
Don't sleep in Minnesota.
Minnesota. I was even gonna say the one
All
playoff
right,
for
all
the
right, but
NFC East.
You got Kirk Cousins, and I'm not. I've never been a believer. I'm not a believer now.
Is he not one of the 12 best quarterbacks in the NFL? He produces at that level every single year, and we always
He's
sleep on
a
him.
numbers guy. He's a numbers guy. He's a numbers guy.
Well, I
The
mean, back to your
defense, the
NFC
line.
East point, I think the Eagles and the Cowboys are two tough teams, and I don't want to harp too much on the NFC, but I do think there are a lot of teams to compete for. I mean, San Francisco, just in the West, you got the
The
Cardinals, you got
West, I will
the
give you.
49ers and the Rams.
West, I'll give you. There's 3 teams that can make the playoffs in the West. But for the other 2 divisions, I can't. I mean, we'll get to it, but I can't give you NFC East and NFC North.